Let's get back to the GioMoShow on WXOU. We just got done talking about in the previous segment Oakland baseball as they finished up their regular season as a third seed and now head into the Horizon League tournament playing Youngstown State tomorrow in the opening round of the tournament. But for now, we talked about that before. You can skip back if you want to hear it, but we got the USPBL to talk about. It's something that I covered. It's a league that I've covered all summer long in the last summer as I am the number one undisputed, not so heavyweight champion when it comes to Hoppers fans. So I got to keep up with it. Got to see what my frogs are up to, as well as Mammoths, Unicorns, and Beavers as well. If you're unfamiliar with what I'm talking about here, the USPBL is the United Shore Professional Baseball League that play over at Jimmy John's Field on the corner of Hall Road and Van Dyke. Near M59, or right on M59, that is, for those local in the Michigan area. So it's all four teams that they play each other throughout the season. They play 4 games a week, one on Friday, two on Saturday, and then one on Sunday as well. So it's a nice local baseball league. I like to cover it. I like to be a fan of things. So the Hoppers are my team for life. So getting into their opening weekend of games, it started off with the Mammoths and Unicorns, followed by a doubleheader on Saturday, or this was Friday they started. Saturday was a doubleheader between my Frogs, my Hoppers, and the Beavers, and then a rematch of Friday's game played on Sunday. Through all of that, each team remains 1-1 throughout the season. Everybody's tied. Everyone's even. Steven. So we'll get into now the first game of the season. We got Mammoths and Unicorns to start things off. This one ended in a 1-1 score. But that does not mean it was a draw. They got sudden death in the USPBL, and to kind of lay out the format there, it's a coin toss that will take place at home plate between the manager of both teams. The home team will call their selection as the umpires flipping the coin. The winner of the coin toss will select whether they want to take the field defensively or bat in the inning. The team at bat will remain the same batting order as the previous inning, with the hitter making the last out placed at first base. If the team scores a run, they win. If there are held scoreless, the victor goes to the team on defense. I'm reading that straight from the website to explain sudden death in the USPBL. And how did we get here? Well, the scoring started not until the 5th inning, where the Mammoths were the first one to get it moving. In that 5th inning, it would be an RBI from Anthony Sharkus. They call him Shark over in the USPBL. Sharkus got the first run of the season, bringing home Joe Cedino. Sharkus would have the only 2 hits for the Mammoths the entire game, as he went 2 for 4 against the Unicorns. The Mammoths would hold that 1-0 lead until the Unicorns tied it in the 8th inning, where Sherman Martin III got an RBI to bring back Joe Smith, and Joe Smith went 2 for 4 hitting as well, along with a walk and a stolen base, working for the Unicorns. But the game would go into extra innings, a single extra inning, where they were tied 1-1. The Unicorns were the ones that were able to bring home the runner on first base to get the first win of the season. What is officially written as 1-1, technically 2-1 win for the Unicorns to start off the season. That then brings us into the doubleheader of the Hoppers and the Beavers on Saturday. This series was split between the Hoppers and the Beavers. So game 1 was another low-scoring affair similar to the game we were just talking about. The Beavers were the first ones to score, going up 1-0 in the 2nd inning, as Peyton Schubert had a sac fly RBI to bring back Christian Ortega. The Beavers would hold the Hoppers scoreless, while they added another run in the 5th inning to go up then 2-0 over the Hoppers, as Christian Ortega, another sac RBI to bring back this time Raymond Hilbrich. Then my Hoppers had a chance to come back into this game. Doubleheaders, by the way, are played in 6 innings. So in the top of the 6th inning, the final inning, the Hoppers were able to get a single run. That happened when Ben Ferguson hit a double. Zeb Moss would then fill in for Ferguson on the base. Jake Shearer would then double again, this time to bring home Roos, the pinch runner. But then with an opportunity to send this one into a second in a row sudden death ending. Potentially. Hughes would strike out swinging, Maddox would strike out swinging, and Valdiver would strike out looking to end the game 2-1 in favor of the Beavers in the first game of that doubleheader. But we don't worry about that because the second game of the doubleheader was all Frogs. Started off with, right away in the top of the first inning, a 2-run home run for the East Side Diamond Hoppers. Matt Gorig would open it up for the first home run of the season, coming off a bat of a Hopper. That would give them a 2-0 lead, and they would extend that lead in the third inning with another single run with bases loaded. Bryant, Shell Shock Schellenberger, would ground out to second base to bring home Blake Valdiver to get them that 3-0 lead by the time the third inning was complete. The Beavers would then get their only run of the game in the bottom of the first inning as Max McLendon would single to bring back Hilbrick from third base, but that's where the scoring would stop. As scoreless in the sixth inning to bring us to a final score of 3-1, my Frogs got it back to even out that doubleheader. And then finally on Sunday, this one was the game that got all the highlights for this week and what awarded 2 Mammoths with weekly honors. We'll get to that after this game here. But in the rematch of Friday's sudden death win for the Unicorns, the Mammoths would take control of the game and never let it go. 5-0 was the final score, and the way we got to there was not only from the bats of the Mammoths, but also from the mound. Trey Jones would get 7 strikeouts in his 5 innings pitched to retire 13 batters before allowing a single base runner allow a single base runner in the 8th inning. In total, the Mammoths would shut out the Unicorns with only 3 hits allowed. So on the mound for the Mammoths, we're doing the job. At the bats, the Mammoths were also doing the job. The first inning, once again, Anthony Sharkus would ground out for an RBI to bring back Alex Garbrick. And then in the 5th inning, Nick Pastor would single for an RBI to bring back Fox Liam. Fox is such a sweet name, dude. And then in the 6th inning, multiple runs. Jose Cedino would single to RBI to bring back Nelson. Sharkus would single to bring back 2 Mammoths, Joe Cedino and Zach Beadle, all totaling to a 5-0 final score to get revenge over the Unicorns and to set everything even after the first week of play in the USPBL. And then with that performance in that Sunday game, the Mammoths were awarded both Pitcher of the Week and Player of the Week. Player of the Week went to Anthony Sharkus as he was .375 over this week, .500 slugging with 3 RBIs and a .316 WOBA. For those who are advanced in the baseball sports, WOBA. Then Pitcher of the Week went to Trey Jones. Like we mentioned, 7 strikeouts in 5 innings with a .6 whip and no runs allowed. So a congratulations to that for the reigning number 1 seed, the reigning regular season champion, Westside Woolly Mammoths. And by the way, Anthony Sharkus, another sweet name, I'm not going to lie. They call him the Shark for obvious reasons. So that right there will wrap up our first week of play in the USPBL. To sum things up, like I mentioned, everything's even. Everybody's 1-1 going into the second weekend of play. Then that second weekend of play, we'll see Friday's game will be the Beavers and the Mammoths. It will be a Peanuts. Oh, excuse me, it won't be a Peanut day. I was thinking Charlie Brown, Snoopy stuff. It will be a peanut-free night, actually, with the fireworks on Friday. That'll be the Beavers and the Mammoths. The Unicorns and the Hoppers will see the doubleheader on Saturday, and then no game scheduled for Sunday. Odd. But either way, that's what we got going on for this next weekend of play. So the Hoppers will be facing the Unicorns twice, and the Mammoths and the Beavers a single time. So that will wrap up, finally, our USPBL segment of the GioMoShow, the first of the year, as everyone ends up even, but the Hoppers get the first home run of the year, which is obviously the coolest part of baseball. So I'd say we won the week. So we will now be right back here on the GioMoShow. We'll take a break before we get into some thoughts, some kind of passing by type of thoughts on the NBA playoffs. As fortunately I haven't been glued to the TV every night to see every game of the playoffs. However, some general thoughts and opinions from what we now have for the conference finals, both in the East and the West. It's been a lot of interesting basketball. It's been a lot of interesting parity. And we'll talk all about that in the next segment here on the GioMoShow. And then, remember, at 1 o'clock, we will be live reacting in real time. The second it drops, you'll be hearing me tell you who was the Horizon League Player of the Year, who's on the first team, who's Pitcher of the Year, and all the All-League honors. We'll get to that at 1 o'clock on the GioMoShow before or after the NBA. So we'll be right back.